458 Spider is powered by a 4.5-liter V8. It can hit 62 miles an hour in less than 3.5 seconds and reach the top speed of over 198 miles per hour.
Well, that sounds really good. I'm more of a Porsche guy myself, but...
Dr. Friedman, Porsches are not as cool as Ferraris.
Ollie, can you take that Ferrari out to the waiting room? We need to talk to Dr. Freeman.
Drive carefully. It's a zoo out there, okay? Well, he's certainly high energy, but his blood pressure is normal, and the test came back negative for any kind of thyroid issues. So I can't find any physical triggers for hyperactivity.
So you think he's ADHD, just like Brian?
It could be. How is Brian?
He just got into Stanford.
What? Congratulations! You got to give him a high five for me. Although he's 18, he probably doesn't want a high five from his pediatrician.
Dr. Freeman, if Ollie has it too, we would like to treat it as early and as aggressively as possible.
I don't know. I mean, the way he was rattling those stats off about that car, it doesn't sound like a kid that's having trouble focusing. And if he's just a little bit hyper, you know, I was hyper when I was a kid.
Respectfully, Dr. Freeman, we've been through this before.
ADHD runs in the family, and the medication really helped Brian.
Yeah, I mean, Brian was a little bit older when we diagnosed him.
Ollie is having tantrums. He's throwing fits.
Okay. I just don't want to jump the gun, but there are some other tests we can run. My associate, who's a therapist, Dr. Sheldon Wallace, could probably see you today.
Great, thank you.
Drive, I'm about to get 3 stars on every level.
Wow, it's very impressive. How are your grades in school?
Bad. I got a B in English. 3 stars!
A B is bad?
Tell Dr. Wallace how hard it is for you to do your homework alone.
Mom and Dad always help me on my homework because it takes me too long on my own.
And you can't sit still during reading time at school, right?
When can we go home?
May I speak with Ollie privately?
I don't see why that's necessary.
He's 8 and he's perfectly well adjusted. He doesn't need therapy.
Well, if he's perfectly well adjusted, then why are you here?
He's hyperactive.
It would help me to assess him if I could have a few moments with him.
He's a young boy. You're a man we're just meeting. We're not going to leave him alone with you.
Okay, I understand that. Why don't we make an appointment for him to take some diagnostic tests? And if you give me the name and number of his teacher, I'll speak with her and have her complete some diagnostic inventories, and we'll get back to you.
We didn't have to go through all of that when Brian was diagnosed.
Our diagnostic approach has changed in the last decade as we've come to better understand the disorder. And most people think that's a good thing. Prescribing any drug for a child is not something that should be taken lightly.
Okay, well, thank you for your time and your somewhat startling condescension.
Mrs. Graham.
We are good parents. Our oldest son is headed to Stanford, and Ollie is on the honor roll at school, and that's not because we're running around getting prescriptions for drugs that our kids don't need. So thank you for your time. Come, sweetie. But we'll be finding a new doctor.
Thank you.
A decade before Ollie was born. That's how long I've been treating this family. And 5 minutes with you and they're running for the door.
You shouldn't have sent them to me if all you're looking for was a rubber stamp.
I was looking for a second opinion about the meds, not some kind of judgment about their parenting. I mean, granted, Rosie is a bit of a tiger mom, and that can be off-putting, but it's not uncommon.
I don't think I got the whole story. Ollie is a little bit hyperactive, but he doesn't seem like he can't focus. And his answers seem coached, you know, to put it mildly. The whole thing was odd.
What? Parents coached a kid so he could score ADHD drugs?
So says Sheldon. I mean, these are good parents. I've known them a long time. They're good people.
Good people make terrible decisions every day. My field is pretty much based on that.
Doesn't surprise me. The diagnosis of ADHD is epidemic in this country.
We all know the hysteria, Pete, but that doesn't mean it's not real, and it doesn't mean that Ollie's faking it or was coached.
Okay, maybe these kids are unfocused because we're pumping them full of caffeine and sugar and preservatives. We should look at diet and exercise before we just write them a script for speed.
ADHD drugs can be very effective, but they have to be used sparingly and only in clear-cut cases. I just don't see that here.
Yeah, and if Sheldon is right, the parents are coaching their kid to get drugs, it's child abuse.